Hi guys, That Song Review Guy here, and today on another episode of Charts in the Past, we look back at the top 10 biggest selling songs as of the 15th of July 1990. Kicking things off at number 10 is England New Order with World in Motion. Another World Cup anthem for you fine watchers to indulge in, this time coming courtesy of the punk rock electronic dance music group New Order. Produced for England's campaign for the 1990 World Cup, this song, which at one point was a UK #1 single, actually stands out as one of the better of the footballing anthems that have been made. Featuring guest vocals from former England superstar John Barnes, World in Motion is pretty much the same as the previous football anthems that I've talked about in one of my previous Charts of the Past videos, only the lyrics this time have clearly had a little bit more effort put into them. Backed by the synth-heavy instrumentation, a melody that matches that of the song's chorus and additional anthemic backing vocals courtesy of other members of the England national team at the time, which include Paul Gascoigne, Chris Waddle, Peter Bardsley, Steve McMahon and Des Walker. This song includes the famous "They Think It's All Over" quotation from Kenneth Wolstenholme, which was made at the end of the 1966 World Cup final between England and West Germany. Although not the original quotation, re-recorded specifically for this song, it's full of the atypical phrases and references that are commonly associated with football. And that's about it. No further analysis needed here. Honestly, you can't really do much analysis with songs of this nature, can you? It's a good song and one of the better footballing anthems. At number 9 is Oops Up by Snap. The second single dropped from the band's gold certified album here in the UK, the song, which is one of 12 singles to reach the top 20, 2 of which making the #1 spot, is a reworking of the 1980s hit I Don't Believe You Want to Get Up and Dance, parenthesis, Oops, from the Gap band. This Eurodance group, believe it or not, had great success, not only in Europe, but across the world. It's easy to forget that this group have done a lot more than the power and rhythm is a dancer, and much like those songs, it's easy to see how they've achieved so many hits. Great songs that are simple and catchy lyrically, couple them with your atypical Eurodance music, and you've pretty much got a surefire hit. Along with backing vocals from Jenny Ford, the song, which uses the main hook from the original, is about Turbo B's misfortunes during an average day, which includes going to the supermarket to get some food. He gets chatting to a good-looking woman, only to discover that he's left his wallet at home. And on another occasion, he talks about how he's about to have sex with a freaky, animalistic woman called Amy, and just as he's about to get his Mac on, it breaks. And unlucky for him, that was his last one. Atypical Eurodance music aside, it's a decent song. Funny areas, and it's a decent reworking. All in all, don't really have much more to say about this one. At number 8 is One Love by the Stone Roses. Held in high regards in the indie and Manchester music scene, the Stone Roses are a bit of an enigma in terms of their history. Their discography consists of only 2 albums that were released during their original 13 years together, from 1983 to 1996, haven't released an original album in over 2 decades, have 8 top 20 singles, 4 of which went into the top 10, this one being their joint 3rd most successful, their relationship with the British media being tumultuous at best, in that they very rarely, if ever, had any interaction with the media at all, unlike other bands of the same genre at the time, and yet they've still managed to maintain an impressive following from essentially doing fuck all. Not my words before you start ranting at me, words written by John Robb. Who is he? The musician and vocalist for the punk rock group The Membranes, in a biography that he wrote about the Stone Roses. The song has a rather mixed reputation amongst the fan base. A lot of people feel that One Love latches onto the band's previous top 10 hit, Fool's Gold. And I must say, having listened to both songs, I can definitely hear parts of the tracks that do sound strikingly similar. But I think One Love does manage ever so slightly to maintain its own personality. The instrumentation has a very psychedelic feel to it. The bass and electric guitars are by far the best thing about the song. Distinctive, bouncy, with a funky drum section to boot. The lyrics are a bit obscure to decipher. I'm not exactly sure what this song's about, but I'm guessing it's about the lead singer Ian Brown telling some woman that anytime she wants sex, he's willing to give it to her. Again, I'm only guessing here. Apparently there are religious connotations in the song, but I don't see them personally. Maybe a die-hard Stone Roses fan out there can help me out a bit, but overall, I'm slightly confused about how I feel about the song. At number 7 is MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. The signature song from the Californian rapper, real name Stanley Kirk Burrell. It's quite easy to think that this guy was just another one-hit wonder. Yet from 1990 through to 95, the band did quite well in the UK. Overall, the guy had 8 top 20 singles in the UK, with this song being his most successful, peaking at number 3. Has sold over 50 million records worldwide, being the first rapper ever to achieve diamond status for an album, and is widely regarded as one of the main barrier breakers for hip-hop being able to garner worldwide commercial recognition. Yeah, MC Hammer did that. Responsible for the pop culture catchphrases You Can't Touch This and Hammer Time, this song's main riff is lifted off of the 1981 Rick James track Super Freak, of which MC Hammer was sued over until the lawsuit was dropped and James was eventually credited as a co-composer for the song and ultimately reaped a lot of money from this song. In a nutshell, it's a dance track with lyrics, particularly in the second and fourth verses, telling the listener to just dance along with the song, and the first, third and fifth verses being about Hammer himself and telling the listener about how much of a dope artist he is and how he makes music and rhymes that get the crowd pumped and on their feet. Catchy chorus, decent production, even if it is ripping off another track. It's a song that one can just take in their stride and enjoy it for what it is. Light, fun dance rap that isn't to be taken seriously whatsoever, and on the surface, it's just meant to be enjoyed. At number 6 is It Must Have Been Love by Roxette. Courtesy of the Swedish pop rock duo consisting of Marie Fredriksson and Per Giselle, and used for the soundtrack to the 1990 movie Pretty Woman, It Must Have Been Love marks one of 12 top 20 singles achieved by the group between the years 1989 and 2005. Originally having been released under its full title, It Must Have Been Love, Christmas for the Broken-Hearted, in 1987, where it peaked at number 4 in its native Sweden, the song went to number 1 in 5 different countries, peaking at number 3 in the UK, was certified gold in 4 countries, platinum in 1, and was the second biggest selling single in the US during 1990. The song in essence is a Christmas song at heart, detailing the story of a lonely winter's day after the breakup of a relationship where the protagonist is trying to convince herself that she and her lover are still together, escaping reality, but slowly and begrudgingly is accepting what has happened. Fredriksson's delivery here is superb. Full of emotion and heartache, you can really feel the conviction in her voice. I'm not sure whether the inclusion of Giselle's vocals add any real depth or were needed at all in this song, but it still manages not to detract away from the core of the track. The instrumentation is a rock synth combination of synthesizers, electric guitar, a simple drum piece that remains the same throughout, and a piano section during the break in the middle of the track, which actually is a very welcoming presence to the song and gives it some needed drama and emotion. Don't get me wrong, the instrumentation isn't bad, but the inclusion of the piano is an added dynamic that was really needed. Good song. Definitely give it a listen if you haven't heard it. At number 5 is Thunderbirds Are Go by Fab featuring MC Parker. Okay. So some greedy fat cat fucker, aka Gary Shoefield, thought that it would be a great idea to take the theme tune to one of the most iconic television shows here in the UK, practically a staple for British culture in terms of television, jack it up with some techno and stuttering vocals from random episodes of Thunderbirds, along with incorporating the other 2 puppet shows, Stingray and Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, both created by the same minds who gave us Thunderbirds, and release it as part of an album full of other techno covers of popular British television shows. I'm just wondering what's worse, this or the revamped Thunderbirds show. It's crap. Surprised? At number 4 is Turtle Power by Partners in Crime. Created for the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live-action movie soundtrack, Partners in Crime was a hip-hop duo consisting of James Alpern and Richard Usher, using the stage names of DJ Keymaster Snow and MC Golden Voice. And yes, those were the names that they consciously chose for themselves. These only stuck around for 1990, with this song being their one and only claim to fame, lasting 4 weeks at the top spot, and their follow-up track, Undercover, peaked at the catastrophic position of 92. Oh, what a shame! Unsurprisingly, much like Ollie and Jerry, lasted as long as the prepubescent's first wank. And really, with this song, Is it much of a surprise to anyone? How can you take a hip-hop duo seriously ever again after dropping a song called Turtle Power? I suppose I could sum up the song in one word. The worst I could come up with would be average. Production standard, percussion heavy electronic beats, the lead's flow is okay and the lyrics are pretty much what you'd expect. They don't challenge the mind, they're beyond examination since there's nothing worth examining, and they do what they're supposed to do. At least you can say that they tell you who the turtles are, the name of their mentor, their enemy's name, basic backstory, etc, etc. To be honest, this really isn't a song that's even worth going postal on. Next. At number 3 is Nessun Dorma by Luciano Pavarotti. Arguably one of, if not the most successful operatic tenors to cross over from the world of operatic music into popular music, and famed member of the mega operatic group The Three Tenors, along with Placido Domingo and Jose Carreras, Luciano Pavarotti is well known to those indulged in the world of popular commercial music as the man who made Nessun Dorma a worldwide smash hit. Peaking at number 2 in the UK, and much like World in Motion, was a song that was heavily used during the 1990 World Cup. Nessun Dorma, for those of you who don't know, and I didn't at the time, translates into English as None Shall Sleep, is an aria that comes from the final act of the Giacomo Puccini opera Turandot, sung by the character Caliph, who has fallen in love with the princess Turandot, a woman who, if any man wishes to marry her, must answer 3 of her riddles correctly, otherwise they will be beheaded. As you do. The lyrics tell the story of the aftermath once Caliph has correctly answered the princess's 3 riddles. Sickened at the idea of having to marry Caliph, the princess is given the challenge of finding out Caliph's name in order for her not to marry him, in which he tells her that she can execute him if she is successful in doing so. Should she fail, then she must marry him. Afterwards, the princess orders her servants to discover Caliph's name or face being executed should they fail. Musically and lyrically, everything about this song is what you would expect. Beautiful, exquisitely performed, and mighty in every aspect. At number 2 is Mona by Craig McLachlan and Check1-2. Short of being a teenager growing up in the 80s, I'm guessing that a vast chunk of you out there haven't got a clue who this guy is. Neither did I, so I'll explain. Craig McLachlan is an Australian actor who appeared in the 2 biggest soap operas to ever come out of Australia, Neighbours during 1987 to 1989 and Home and Away during 1990 to 1991. During the beginning of the 90s, he forged a singing career which started in 89 and eventually hit the skids in 96. During this time, he had 1 top 10 single in the UK with this 1957 Bo Diddley B-side, and overall had 3 top 20 singles. This song, according to Bo Diddley, is about a woman called Mona, obviously, who was a real-life person aged 45 who worked as an exotic dancer at a bar called the Flame Bar Show in Detroit, Michigan. This song was dedicated to her. How sweet. The instrumentation stays pretty much in line with the original in terms of the riff, only here it has the inclusion of drums and a much cleaner, crisper staccato guitar riffs from both acoustic and electric guitars, as you would expect with improved technology. The delivery of the lyrics of the original had Bo using his voice for both the lead and the background vocals. Here, the use of McLachlan's and backing singers go well with each other. That's pretty much all there is to say about it, to be honest. It's a decent cover, nothing outright horrendous, but then again this is a song that has been covered by the likes of the Rolling Stones, Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen. So I guess it's one of those easy to cover songs that pretty much anybody can do. Finally, the number 1 song of the 15th of July 1990 was Sacrifice by Elton John. Initially released in 1989, where the song stalled at number 55, but with the helping hand from former BBC Radio 1 presenter Steve Wright pushing the song for airplay, other DJs followed suit. The song was re-released as a double A-side with Healing Hands, and the song eventually became Elton's first solo number 1 hit, where it stayed at the top for 5 weeks and was the 3rd biggest selling single of the year, shifting 600,000 copies, becoming certified platinum. Often touted by songwriter Bernie Taupin as one of the best songs that he's ever written, Sacrifice was inspired by the Aretha Franklin track Do Right Woman, Do Right Man, and is seen by many as the bookend to Your Song. The song in and of itself centres on the story of a marriage that has broken down, but the loss of a relationship itself is seen as no sacrifice. It's not a scathing or bitter song by any stretch of the imagination. Instead, it's more of a sombre acceptance of what is basically an inevitable outcome. The instrumentation is one of the gentler pieces from Elton's discography, swapping out the standard grand piano for a digital piano, a drum rhythm that refrains from being a bombastic heavy percussion piece, along with keyboard synths and a brief electric guitar piece near the end of the track. It's one of the best executed instrumentations of Elton's most popular and well-known tracks, to be honest. It would have been very easy to turn this song into a soaring power ballad, but by treating the lyrics to a much sweeter, softer instrumentation, it works in the song's favour and gives it more of an emotional resonance. Guess which song knocked this off of the top spot? That's right, the fucking Turtle song. I hope you're happy, UK public. I hope you're happy. And that's it. Those were the top 10 biggest selling songs of the 15th of July 1990. What do you guys think? Do you like these songs? Do you not? Do you agree with my opinions? Disagree? However you feel, leave them in the comment section below. I welcome all opinions. And until next time, I'm That Song Review Guy. Take care.